Cook just moved Texas Senate to lean Republican. And before anybody in D.C. starts acting like that means a miracle, let's separate a rating change from an actual campaign.
I'm Matt. This is Senate Pickup Watch. Paxton beat Cornyn, Cook moved a number, and Nebraska's nominee may need a lawsuit just to get off the ballot.
I'm Cassidy, and today we're asking what lean R actually means in a state Democrats haven't won statewide in 30 years, when you still have to build the whole ground game from scratch.
Cook moved a rating. We'll tell you who that helps and who it leaves out.
Here's the Hill.
The nonpartisan election handicapper Cook Political Report shifted its rating of the Texas Senate race toward Democrats on Tuesday, from likely Republican to lean Republican, after State Attorney General Ken Paxton, Republican, defeated Senator John Cornyn, Republican Texas, in the marquee race's GOP runoff.
Cook took Texas from likely Republican to lean Republican overnight, and I want to be the first to say it. That's a rating change, not a campaign. I still haven't seen a public in-state fundraising number from the Democratic nominee that tells me there's a real organization here.
That conditional I flagged last week, if Paxton wins the runoff, is resolved now. And Cook basically said the same thing right away. But lean R in a state Democrats haven't won statewide in a generation is still red. The ethics case is real. The structural case isn't there yet.
And here's what worries me. The second Cook nudges Texas, DSCC attention and money start drifting toward the marquee name. That's how a candidate like Plattner, who was already asking us to pay attention to where his money was coming from, suddenly has to compete with the sexier headline for national donor oxygen.
I'd push back a little. Paxton's baggage is real, and that divorce on biblical grounds detail is exactly the kind of thing that can move soft Republican women in the suburbs. But Margot's right. Cook moved a number, not a state. Texas suburbs cracking and Texas flipping are very different sentences.
Here's NBC News.
Texas Senate race. State Attorney General Ken Paxton beat Senator John Cornyn to win the GOP nomination, NBC News projects. Paxton, who secured President Donald Trump's endorsement last week, will face Democratic State Representative James Talarico in November.
Paxton over Cornyn is confirmed, and Cook's already moved Texas from likely Republican to lean Republican. I was too early with the cautious hope read on this one. The conditional is resolved, and the map did move. But a rating is not a campaign.
Cook shifting that number is the first outside signal all week that the Paxton as nominee theory actually changes the race. Still, lean R in a state Democrats haven't won statewide in a generation is not a pickup. It's a chance to spend money and lose more slowly.
James Talarico is the Democratic nominee now. I want his in-state Q3 number before I treat any of this as a real ground operation. And here's the concern. The second Cook moves Texas to lean R, DSCC dollars and attention chase the marquee. That's exactly how somebody like Plattner gets underfunded while everyone stares at Texas.
Paxton comes in with real baggage. Impeachment, the AG scandals. But baggage doesn't automatically turn into Democratic votes in Texas. The working class realignment didn't pause because the Republican nominee is messy. Talarico has to prove he fits that electorate, not just the one that would have voted Democratic anyway.
Here's NPR.
Texas held one of the first Senate primaries on March 3rd. Now that the general election matchup is set, though, don't expect to stop hearing about it. With Paxton's win on Tuesday night, the Senate seat in Texas became much more competitive than it would have been had Cornyn won.
Cook moved Texas to lean Republican the moment Paxton was called Tuesday night. And I want to be precise about what that is. A rating change, not a campaign. The Democratic nominee still has to show me in-state fundraising numbers before that Cook shift means anything on the ground.
That conditional I raised on the 21st. If Paxton wins the runoff, does the map actually move? Cook just answered it. But lean R in a state Democrats haven't won statewide in a generation is still a long way from interesting to winnable.
And here's my immediate concern. The second DSCC sees lean Republican on Texas, the reallocation instinct kicks in. Which is exactly when I want to know where Plattner's money is coming from. Because that Cook move is going to hoover attention and dollars toward the sexier target.
That's the structural trap. A cracked Republican primary produced a rating shift, but the working-class realignment that put Texas in play on paper didn't vanish when Cornyn lost. Paxton is a chaos candidate, not a Democratic coalition builder. Those are different things.
Here's Juan Salinas II at Nebraska Examiner.
Nebraska Attorney General Mike Hilgers confirmed to the Examiner late last week that the Secretary of State's office in Lincoln has reached out for guidance on whether the state's top election official, Bob Evnen, can keep Burbank on the November ballot once she asks to be removed, which she can do once the election is formally certified on June 8.
Cindy Burbank may have to file a lawsuit, not to get on the Nebraska ballot, but to get off it. The Secretary of State's office is already signaling they can keep her there after June 8th certification, and the AG is calling the whole thing mildly premature. That's a recruitment failure with a legal bill attached.
This is Nebraska-specific ballot structure doing exactly what I flagged. It's not a messaging problem or a money problem. It's a statutory trap nobody bothered to game out before they recruited her. And a nominee who's suing the state to exit the race is not building the kind of November electorate shape that helps Dan Osborne.
Bob Evnen, the Secretary of State, is the one holding the door shut here. When your own party's nominee needs a court order to withdraw, the DSCC doesn't get to call this cycle's Nebraska situation a recruitment story. It's a structural mess they walked into with their eyes open. Ivy Lyons, writing in The Intelligencer,
In the race to fill retiring U.S. Senator Dick Durbin's seat in the upper chamber of the U.S. Congress, Democrat Juliana Stratton has doubled fundraising and spending compared to her opponent, Republican Don Tracy.
Stratton is doubling Tracy in this race. Nearly $5 million raised, 90% from individual donors. On paper, that's a healthy primary operation. But Illinois is a seat Democrats are supposed to hold. So the real question is whether any of that donor energy can be replicated somewhere the map actually needs it.
And this is the number I've been waiting for all week. If money is supposed to be the signal, a 2-to-1 gap inside a Democratic primary tells you the party is putting real resources into defending Dick Durbin's old seat. Which means that much less room for the genuine surprise pickup I keep saying the map has to have.
Stratton's sitting on under $700,000 cash on hand after $4 million in expenses. That's a lot of burn for a race you're supposed to win comfortably. If the DSCC is watching that number, they should be asking why. Got a race we should be watching, a correction, or a smart tip from your state? Send it our way at SenatePickupWatch@lanternpodcast.com. We read the inbox, and we appreciate your help making the show sharper. If you want to dig a little deeper, we've put links to every story from today's briefing in the show notes. Take a look and follow up on the races or numbers that caught your ear. That's Senate Pickup Watch for today. This is a Lantern podcast.